Everybody. Yeah.
We good? All right. All right, the time is now. We good? Okay. Time is now 6:31, September 23rd, 2025. I call this meeting to order of the City of Mulberry Planning Commission. Commissioners, I now make a motion to approve the agenda for the evening. Can I get a second? Second. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries 5-0. All right, Commissioners, I now make a motion to approve the minutes from August 26th meeting. I have a motion, can I get a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the August 26th meeting minutes, signify by saying aye, raise your hand. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioners, I'd like to welcome everybody tonight for our opening comments. We got a nice crowd. This is our first rezoning for the City of Mulberry, so we're excited to be here. Commissioners, do you have anything that you would like to add this evening?
Just want to welcome everybody here tonight. We got a good crowd, so I think it's like, what, third meeting? Third or fourth? So this is the most we've had, so welcome.
Anything? Mr. Chris?
Thank you for being here.
Y'all will extend a little grace as I read through this. This is about my third or fourth time going through this process. I will now open the period for public comments. Please reserve your comments related to a specific agenda item when we call for comments on that specific item. Comments to the Planning Commission should be limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker. Groups wishing to address an issue should select 1 or 2 spokespeople. Then the time allowed for all the issues should not exceed a total of 10 minutes. Issues raised at this time are generally referred to the Secretary for review. Responses will be provided at a later date. And now I'll make a motion to open up the public comment period. Do I get a second?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor of opening the public comment section, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, do we have anybody that would like to make a public comment to the Planning Commission? All right, hearing none, I would now like to make a motion to close the public comment period. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor of closing the public comment section, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, old business. There is no old business for this meeting, so we will now move into the new business portion of the agenda. I will call our first item of new business as follows. CIC-2025-07-1369, a change in conditions to amend the buffer requirements as a previous rezoning from 50 feet to 20 feet, 2100 Gravel Springs Road. Staff, I will now ask you to present your staff analysis and recommendation.
Sorry. Yes, good evening. Happy to be here before you. This is the first rezoning case, or not this one. This is a change in condition. You have heard of change in condition previously, but this meeting is the first rezoning. But as you stated, the request is for a change in condition on 2100 Gravel Springs Road. The property is 2.8 acres in size, and it's zoned office institutional. It's gone through a couple of different rezonings with Gwinnett County, and during that process, there was a condition placed on the property that for one of the property lines, there be a 50-foot buffer. And so the property has since changed hands. The new property owner has brought it into compliance with a lot of different standards. The one thing that is still non-compliant is the buffer, and that is because the condition restricted a reduced buffer to a specific use type. So if it was a counseling service, it was permitted to have a 20-foot buffer, I believe, or a 25-foot buffer. This use has changed since the property owner has changed ownership. And so they're asking to remove that condition because the other alternative would be to demolish a portion of the building and meet the condition. I will let the applicant speak more to what the proposed use is, but staff did feel like, based on our analysis, that this could be an appropriate request to consider. We did recommend approval just with a condition that it is a 20-foot buffer as the applicant requested the change in condition to be. But this also does not change any of the other existing conditions that Gwinnett County had placed on the property. So those will still be enforced. We will just be providing relief from that condition 2A of the original rezoning. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
No problem.
I'll now make a motion and I need a second. Open the public comment period.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor of opening the public comment period for this case, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Would someone like to stand in?
David hates doing this, so I'll do it.
All right, could you please state your name?
My
and
name
your
is
address?
Steve Landers, and I live at 156 Holly Hills Drive, Athens, Georgia, 30606. I am a landscape architect registered in the state of Georgia. My professional number is 1067. This project, nearly 40 years, this is the weirdest project I ever worked on. Just to give you a brief history, 2007, this was an RA property and had a single family residence on it, 2-story. It got rezoned to O&I, and for some reason the guy waited until 2015 to do the development on it. He got a commercial development, ComDev, to retrofit the house to make it a commercial use. And he got a civil engineer to do a lot of site work design for him so that he could adapt and become a commercial use. Unfortunately, they did all the work and they didn't have a land disturbance permit from Gwinnett County. So the Quinteros bought the property, I think last spring or last summer, and did not realize that they were not in compliance with the UDO for Gwinnett County. So when they tried to get their CO, they said, no, you can't, you've got to get this under permit. They used the previous engineer to try and work it out, and it did not work out. So David, who's a part-time client, I guess you could say sometimes, and Scott Metters at Gwinnett County asked me to meet them at the property to see if I could get this site into compliance. And I worked on it. It was a mess, but I have, at the end of, beginning of July, I had completed all comments and gotten all partners approved at Gwinnett County, except for this vegetative buffer. And I was on their schedule for the Board of Commissioners meeting in August, and of course y'all came online on the 1st, so that got pulled back and I had to apply for y'all, and that's why I am here. It's a real easy thing. The buffer reduction, y'all don't have maps though, do you? That you put up on
We
the
do,
screen?
they have them in
We have them.
there.
Okay.
We got plans.
So we have a plan.
All right, if you look at the plans, all that stuff that you see in there was implemented in 2015 without permit. The ponds, the driveways widened, the concrete in the back for the driveway, all that stuff was done without a permit. So I've worked to get it within the UDO, and like I say, the vegetative buffer is the sticker, because I have to go for Board of Commissioner or you guys to get that, simply because when they rezoned this property, they made a huge mistake. O&I already requires a 50-foot buffer in Gwinnett County if you're next to a single-family subdivision or something like that. But by putting it in the zoning conditions, you strip away my ability to go and have an administrative reduction, which would be 50%. And Gwinnett was on board with that, but they said, no, since it's part of the conditions, you've got to go and get a change of conditions. and that's why I'm here. I think she explained it aptly. If you look at all the photos that I had in my application and stuff, you'll see that we're significantly screened from everything around us on the 50-foot buffer side. Now, the driveway side is not a 50-foot buffer, that is a landscape strip, so that's not in the question here. It's the back property line and the, I guess you would call it the eastern property line. But they are sufficiently screened. We will go in and comply and plant the double rows of evergreens or triple row, whatever is required, and completely screen that off. I guess the bottom line on this is if we don't get this reduction, this property dies. Not just to use the whole property, because you're gonna have to go and tear out half of it. The 50-foot buffer comes within 15 feet of the back part of the building, the back wall of the building. So you can see that. 25 feet, if you reduced it 50%, I still needed to get some kind of variance because I got a little narrow piece of pavement that has to go in there to get the 24-foot wide aisle for the angle, for the 90-degree parking. That's why I'm asking for a 20-foot. 20-foot easily, we're there all day long. Nothing hurts, nothing's, has to be demolished, and it won't have any impact, no negative impact on any of our neighbors. And if y'all see from the pictures, we're completely screened. Now on the eastern property line, there is a driveway skirt there, but DOT will not allow us to use that. So there's never gonna be a connecting road that goes in and out of that way. But half of that property line on the other side of us in that residential development is a detention pond. So there's gonna be no eyesore, and that's where the thinnest part of the existing buffer is at now. And we do have an existing buffer of pine trees, hardwoods, shrubs, things like that. So I'm not gonna get myself into trouble if she's gonna recommend approval. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. But I think she put it in a nutshell. And then my comment that if we don't get this, this property dies, and we don't know what happens to it, because it cannot be used commercially. All right?
Any questions?
Yeah, this is in my district, so I definitely have quite a few concerns about this. When you're talking eastern line, I guess you're talking right here, correct?
Yeah,
Okay, and this is pretty much undeveloped. It looks like there's a few homes right there.
this is a detention pond.
Okay,
That's a giant detention
Right.
pond. This is the only property line that hits ours. That residence property line is the only one that hits ours.
then of course you're talking about back here also.
Yes, and there's an 8-foot high opaque fence already there on the property line. You cannot see the buildings behind it. I mean, you might
Okay.
see them through the cracks, but you're not gonna see.
So there was,
anything.
okay, so there, that I was not aware of, so there
Yeah,
was
and-
a fence there.
And then when we put a 20-foot landscape strip that's all evergreen, I'm sorry, get out of your face.
No, you're fine, you're absolutely
But
fine.
when we put the evergreen screening in there, then you probably won't even see the fence
Okay.
once it's grown in. So
So my
there's
other,
gonna be no negative impact on any of the neighbors.
my other major concern is, this is all being submitted and we're not being told what wants to be used with the property. So that's my other, I don't know if somebody's looking to build a shopping center on here.
No, it's restricted to O&I uses,
Okay, so,
office and
so you
institution.
still are planning on.
Yeah,
keeping this
you
office.
can't have a C, property come in there or CUs come in. It has to be
Okay.
O&I. I'm not sure what all y'all have in your, regs as far as what is allowed in O&I, but it's not gonna be anything like a drive-through
Okay.
or lots of cars or anything like that.
Yes,
It'll be
maybe-
minimal.
And maybe I read it wrong, and I'll let the other commissioners chime in and see if they've seen anything that just, from what I read or what I thought I read, it was basically asking for conditions, so it can be used as a commercial or a non-specific commercial type of unit, so
Yeah.
that could be anything.
It would still be restricted to whatever is allowable in office and institutional. If it was any of the other commercial districts, they would have to come back for a rezoning.
There aren't a whole lot of uses on O&I. It's of all the different zonings, it's probably the least diverse of what can go in there. It's pretty restricted.
Okay, yeah, because as you probably know, I mean, I live off of Grapple Springs Road personally myself, and it's become a nightmare down through there. You know, now suppose we got approval of a truck stop gas station right there at Gravelsburg.
Oh, no, yeah, there's not gonna be a QT or anything like this. This thing will never be seen. I mean, they're not gonna do any, you got two streams going to the front.
Okay.
So there can be no development there without getting a Corps permit to pipe the streams, and that ain't gonna happen.
Have you seen the house?
You can see the house on the road. Are you planning on raising the house or? I mean,
No,
So the
it's
house
been
is-
retrofitted to fit a commercial use.
Okay.
I mean, an O&I use.
So you're basically just looking for parking solutions is what it sounds like.
Yeah, well, like I say, I've struggled and I've gotten everything under the Gwinnett UDO prior to y'all, and all departments have signed off. Everybody's contingent on this reduction in vegetative buffer. There's one other comment that's concerning the sewer, but it's a sewer line that was designed by this guy that we're not even using, so I've got to get with Christina DeJarnette over at Gwinnett to resolve that with her.
Anybody else?
So, I think the one that sort of catches me, and I get what you're trying to do, and, you know, obviously we don't want to, you know, we want properties to be able to be used. When we talk about a reduction, you know, I like that 50% reduction, just because, you know, I sometimes get concerned about setting a precedent. And so are we setting a precedent if we go more than that 50% reduction and it down to the 20 or?
The 50% reduction is only done through administrative barriers.
Right.
And it's restricted to 50%. You can't go 55, you can't go 60, so you're covered on that aspect. The reason that I'm going for 20 is because I say in the backside, I've gotta have like a 3-foot wide strip go down the back edge of the existing pavement so that I can get the required 24-foot travel aisle. So
From the
that's
back
why,
of that building.
yeah, I have to go even a little bit further, but I went out there and took a picture, and there's still, if you come 20 feet off the face of that fence towards the building, there's still a good 6-8 feet of grassed area. So, and part of that's gonna now be concrete.
So what's the distance from the property line to the back of the building?
From the property line?
Yeah.
I'm not sure right offhand, but it's on my drawings. Look on the
It's
corner.
63 feet.
63 feet.
Yeah.
This is 90-degree parking,
And
24 foot. Now, is there any option
66
or
is the
anything to
other
go with
corner.
diagonal parking? where
We
you
don't
have-
need it. We don't need it.
As far as having a narrow
Yeah.
aisle?
Yeah, no, it wouldn't narrow it, you still gotta have the same access aisle. The regs in Gwinnett read that if it's only one-sided 90-degree parking, you only need 22 feet, but they're saying I gotta have 24 feet. I went over this with them,
It's probably,
and the review I got back from y'all said 24 feet too,
it's
but,
probably fire.
Huh?
Fire,
Around there.
access emergency.
no, they get 22
No,
feet
It was
also.
22 for fire.
Yeah, no, it was from zoning that gave me
Okay.
that comment.
Yeah, it probably has to do with fire.
No, fire, if you got single-sided, all they need is 22 foot to get in there. And, minimum access with no parking is 20 feet. Yeah.
2 minutes, presentation.
Oh,
10 minutes, yeah.
I didn't know what you were saying.
Sorry.
Need a little bell.
2-minute warning.
Gong bell.
A gong.
Yeah, gong me out of here.
Do you have any more questions?
No, I think you answered everything that I wanted to answer.
Anybody else? have anything? Thank you. Is there anybody else in favor of the amendment that would like to speak? All right. Now I'd like to hear from any of those. Do we have anybody here in opposition to the amendment? All right. Seeing how there's nobody here in opposition of the amendment, I'd like to, have a vote to close the public comment period. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor of closing the public comment period, please, raise your hand, and say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, 5-0. All right. All right, now I'd like to make a motion to open up the period for the commissioners, planning commissioners to talk. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor of opening the period for, discussion, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries 5-0. All right, is there any discussion we'd like to discuss?
The only thing I maybe should have asked this before, were all the adjoining homeowners notified of this?
They should, yeah,
Okay, so they did have an opportunity to show up tonight, obviously, then.
did we, do we
Yeah, this
mail
is
out
not
notices
passed
for
out.
planning commission?
They should have been
No,
notified.
for planning commission, we do not, and we do for the mayor and council public hearing.
Okay,
So notification letters go out for the public hearing, because this is just the public comment.
so depending on how we vote tonight, whether it proceeds or doesn't proceed, or how it proceeds then.
So you will be providing a recommendation to mayor and council, so unless you table the item for additional,
Okay,
consideration, it will go to mayor and council with your recommendation, at which point we will send the notification letters out for the public hearing.
that's what I wanted to know.
Anything else we need to discuss?
And the applicant does that.
Make a motion?
You do that for the mayor and council meeting.
Yeah,
You
we
do.
did have an advertisement sign out there, so
Yes.
people riding like
Make
this
a
evening, so.
motion to approve as it stands. I doctored it up a little bit, so.
Whenever I'm at, so, yeah, I'm happy where I have it. Maybe on the next page. They need to be labeled.
Okay, here we go. All right, make a motion in the form of a recommendation to the mayor. Just start right, you're gonna make a motion.
I will now make a motion to second on the matter to allow for discussion by commission.
You wanna make a motion
Oh.
to either approve
Oh,
or deny.
all right. I now want to make a motion to either approve or deny.
You're making the motion to either approve
Oh,
or deny.
I'm making a motion to either approve or deny.
That's right. So what are you making?
Okay, I'm confused here.
Okay,
It's
Let's take, yeah.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve, the change in conditions as recommended by staff. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All right, get a second, motion and second. All those in favor of approving the change in condition as recommended by staff to the mayor and city council, signify by raising your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Do you have a conclusion where it says when this will next be heard? No.
I don't have that
Okay.
in here.
So I will go ahead and do it. This will be heard by city council on October 2nd, and that will be the public hearing and first read, and then city council will make a decision at the second reading, which will be on October 16th.
Now, will that be here?
October 2nd will be here in this location, at 6:30. October 16th will actually be just down the street at the new city hall at 6:30.
Okay,
So
I'll need to get an address.
yeah, it's building right there, but yeah, we'll provide updated location information for you.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
I'll do it. I was on the Athens Clark County Planning Commission for 10 years. It doesn't pay very well, but.
But it's a great service. It's a great service.
Yeah, it is.
Now, moving on, we're going to discuss RZR 2025-07-1366, a rezoning request for 3209 Thompson Mill Road from RA 200 to R 100. Staff, I will now ask you to present the staff analysis and your recommendation.
Yes, so as you stated, this is a request to rezone, the property at 3209 Thompson Mill Road from RA 200 to R 100. The property is 2.55 acres in size, and it is currently zoned RA 200. The applicant is requesting to rezone it to R 100 for the purpose of subdividing the lot into two parcels. One will contain the existing residence, and the other will be developed with a new single-family home. The property itself meets all of the RA 200 minimum lot, or minimum development standards, so it meets and exceeds the minimum lot sizes. The one thing that it does not meet is the road frontage or the lot width requirement. The property only has 239 feet of frontage, and RA 200 requires 200 feet of lot width. So that is the purpose that the applicant, or why the applicant has requested to rezone to R100, so that they have a lot width requirement of 100 feet, which they can accommodate. All of the other district standards are exceeded for both RA 200 and R100. There is nearby R100 and R140 parcels along this portion of Thompson Mill Road. So there is some precedence, you know, where this could be okay, even though it is inconsistent with the comprehensive plan.
You
So
said it isn't consistent?
it is not consistent with the comprehensive plan. It is the rural estate character area, which does require a greater lot size. It's, I believe it's 2 dwelling units per acre. Let me just verify to make sure. So it says the area is defined as open landscapes, agrarian heritage, large parcels and homes. So I don't see an actual density recommendation right there in the language we've quoted. The area exceeds the intended, so it is a half dwelling unit per acre, so 1 every 2 acres is what is recommended, in the question, rural estate.
2 acres in that area?
Mm-hmm,
Typically for that.
yeah, it's a 2 acre, that's why it's the R.
All right, what is it for R100?
The minimum lot size for R100,
No, per unit.
so the minimum lot size is 15,000 square feet for R100, which means you could get it's just over 2 dwelling units per acre. An acre is 43,560, so it's not quite 45.
What is this lot size?
The lots being proposed are, the
What-
one that will retain,
What's the total lot size, does it, currently as of right now?
2.55.
2.555.
Okay,
So one lot will be 1.436 and the other will be 1.119, which both exceed the 40,000 square foot
so
minimum.
they're both still gonna be on 8 acre lots?
Yes, yes,
The issue is just the width of the second lot.
yes, that is correct. The new building lot will have 100 feet of frontage instead of 200. Neither of them, so the alternative would be to seek a variance for both lot frontages. That could have been an alternative path this application took. And the applicant chose to do the rezoning request.
How far away are the nearby R100?
They are about 4 or 5 parcels to the, I guess, northwest. It would be towards the upper side.
So it's going that way.
And do we know when those were zoned?
I do not have that zoning history. I can look that up, if you'd like to let the applicant start pre-zoning, and then I can see what the Gwinnett County history has.
You just look at these renderings, it just, we're trying to figure out how, you know, if you're looking at the actual, the plots, and then you look at the pictures,
Mhm.
The scale is.
the scale is completely off. Or to me, it's off.
Well, we'll get to that. Okay. Is there anything else from the staff that you wanted to add?
No, just that, you know, if you did approve the recommend approval, they'd have to meet the minimum building setbacks, so there would at least be a minimum of 20 feet, and then it looks like where the lot line is proposed is probably an additional 20 feet, so about 30 feet of separation between the property line and the existing house.
And then another 20 feet.
And then it could be another, as little as 10, so it
Little
could be
as
about 40 feet of
10's the
separation.
But if it
One on
was,
100. Okay, that's right.
if the request had been for RA 200 with a variance, because it sounds like, just based on the width of this second lot that's being proposed to be created, it would be very hard, based on the width of that lot to get,
You could do a 50-foot wide home.
I mean, yeah, so
It
that's,
wouldn't be aesthetically pleasing.
yeah, that's what you would be limited to.
Yeah, you'd be limited
If you're
to-
trying to meet the full requirements, even from like the setback standpoint for the
Yes,
RA 200.
that is correct. So that does play into it. If they did request a reduction in the lot width through the variance, they would be limited to that 50-foot building area.
Would a variance allow allowed to request for,
They could do a
The
reduction in the
side
side as
setbacks.
well, yes. There are some administrative variance procedures, but it wasn't, if it was a lot with reduction, it wasn't significant enough that we could have done it administratively, which is why they're here.
So a variance is an option.
It could be an option, yes.
Okay.
They'd have to still go through that zoning board of appeals, public
Process,
hearing
right.
and process, but that could be an option as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I will now, make a motion to open the public comment period for those who are here in, approval of it. Can I get a second? All right, all those in favor of opening the public comment period, say aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries, 5-0. Right.
Yeah, that'd be great, thank you. Is this the first rezoning in the city?
It
It's
is.
very exciting.
Welcome, right out of the gate.
Yeah.
It's,
Get that set up. Sorry, I came prepared with the PowerPoint just to make it clear to everyone.
And just to go back, we got 10 minutes on the for it, and then 10 minutes for anyone that would like to speak out in opposition.
Yes, that is correct.
so ask him questions, but discuss between yourselves after.
Right, right.
You can just let me know.
Okay, cool. Well, good evening. Thanks for having me tonight. Tyler Lasser with LJA Engineering at 299 South Main Street in Alpharetta. I don't want to overcomplicate this project. It is a very straightforward one, so I just want to kind of reiterate a few things and make sure everyone's on the same page. We are requesting to rezone the site from RA 200 to R100 for just one additional single-family lot. It is about 2.5 acres on Thompson Mill Road near West Rock Quarry Road. It does have an existing brick home, which will remain. This is just an image of the house. It's actually a little outdated. It's since been painted, but it is a large brick home that's been on there. I wanted to show you the lot dimensions so you can kind of see what we're working with here. It's certainly a large lot regarding the overall size. Like I said, it's over 2.5 acres. As you can see, we only have 240 feet of road frontage, which limits our options on how to divide it generally. As you can see, there are a few examples I'm showing here of, and this is just right next door. So you can see where we've marked our specific lot. These are just examples of subdivisions next door. One being that flag lot, which is right next door. So it just has the 40 feet of road frontage and it has the flag that goes up to the house, which kind of again brings a stacked kind of style to the subdivision where the houses, they're right on top of each other. And then directly next to it as well, you can see it's a version of I'll call it a landlocked subdivision where there's multiple properties that are only accessible via access easement and shared driveway, so they do not have any road frontage. And from what I understand is that's generally an allowed way to subdivide by right. So with our property, we could subdivide it that horizontal way by right without it rezoning. We'd meet the RA 200 standards as far as lot size goes and everything, and it wouldn't be an issue.
You just have to have a recorded access easement and a
Okay.
shared driveway.
And it would be basically behind the current house, is that correct?
Yes, exactly. So they'd be stacked up on top of each other like that. And, you know, if we did that horizontal split, given its like location with the existing house, we just feel that they would be too stacked up on top of each other. If we were starting from scratch and maybe we could push the first house over to the side and kind of have them a little offset, then maybe it would be, doable, but we feel like just with the nature of the existing site conditions, that's just not the best way to do it. We prefer to do that vertical split, which has that, I'm sorry, can you go to the next one? So we prefer to do a vertical split like this. So each house would be facing Thompson Mill Road, and we just think that's more consistent with the character of the area. That's how most of the homes are positioned along Thompson Mill over here. To split it vertically like this, we would, need to request that rezoning to R100, which allows for a minimum of 100 feet of lot width at that front building setback. Lot 1, which is on the left, is about 1.436 acres with about 140 feet of frontage. Lot 2 is about 1.119 acres with 100 feet of frontage. So they meet or exceed the frontage requirement for its new zoning, R100, and they exceed the overall size requirement for even RA 200. So if we went back to the horizontal split, each lot would still exceed that RA 200. So basically what we're doing is requesting this rezoning just to allow for the lots to front onto Thompson Mill Road instead of having a hidden property behind the front one. Can you please hit the next one? This is what the proposed home would look like. 3,700 square feet with 2 or 3 car garage, constructed with brick and 5% siding, so it would be high quality materials as consistent with what's around it. It's just another vantage point. You're correct, this is probably not totally to scale. We just wanted to give you an idea of just kind of more the style of the housing and the color of what we're working with. So that's what we'd be looking to see there. And then lastly, we would say that this is consistent with Mulberry's comprehensive plan, not necessarily the zoning category. However, the comprehensive plan does encourage low density, single family residential development in this area. We feel this additional home is compatible use with this underutilized portion of this property. It won't alter the character of the area by putting it here. Also, there are several existing R100 zone lots, like were just previously mentioned. As you can see, there's the R100 split just to the north there, which looks like it was done relatively recently,
That was-
probably similar sized property.
2021.
Yeah.
And the R140 was 1979.
And then you can, of course, see the various subdivisions in the area, but yeah, generally speaking, again, we're essentially asking for this rezoning to allow the shape of the lots to be altered from what's allowable by right. I'll kind of end it there. I did want to point out I met some of the very nice neighbors that live on Thompson Mill Road here tonight, and I was showing them the site plan, and they expressed that they prefer this type of layout to that horizontal split with the home kind of hidden in the back. So under there, if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer.
So with the house design that you're proposing
Yes.
to go on that more narrow portion,
Yes.
how wide would that be? Like, what are you expecting to be the space between the houses?
Can you go back to that site plan? So the side setbacks are of course 10 feet for R100. So that means they'd have 80 feet of lot width to work with. So
That's a 55, 60-foot plan.
yeah,
Okay.
So, and we can position the driveway on either side to scoot the house further one way or the other.
and of course it dimensions, it's pretty deep lots that have plenty of backyard to work with.
Well, that leads me to my question. You're looking to put this house more or less even with the house that's already there, so to speak. Now, looking at Google Earth images and things of that nature, does appear to be some type of evergreen trees along this, I guess,
On the neighbor's property.
eastern
Yeah.
property line there. And they look to be pretty sizable, so I don't know if they're gonna be all up in our the 10-foot building
Yeah.
line or not. Are those gonna be remain, are they gonna have to be removed?
I think for the most part those are ornamental.
Yeah, we didn't do a tree survey or anything, but we're gonna stay pretty far off of those.
Yeah.
We want the house, like you said, even with the front facade of the other house,
Mhm.
and have as much backyard as possible.
What was your rationale for doing a rezoning instead of a variance?
Well, our first, we had our first conversations with the city, looking to do something like this. We're trying to get a little bit creative to where, it's kind of hard to describe, to where that, lot 1 has the full 200 feet. Kind of like an L-shaped property, if you will, where the lot 2 would be further back. So almost like that horizontal split like I was mentioning before, but still aligned to where they'd be next to each other. And we just turned out that would not be a permitted way to do it, so we kind of were getting creative there. As far as the variance go, I don't know what that variance would have been, was that for, I don't know if
You could have done a lot width variance to reduce the lot width on both.
so it would have been splitting it regardless, and it would
Yeah.
have been, so it's the same concept. With it being rezoned, it's just usually a little bit cleaner, of a request, and no matter what, it's still gonna be the same, land use regardless, so.
With a variance, and this is probably more the staff, is it would be two separate lots at that point.
Yes,
They
both,
just have to have a survey and
request.
stuff along that, it's 2+. Okay.
yes, both of them would result in two new building lots. In a variance situation, in this situation, it would likely be 2 lot width variances and then potentially a side setback reduction. That might be able to be handled through an administrative variance to accommodate more than a 50-foot wide lot.
Okay.
So we're not increasing density by any means or anything like that, it's just, 140 and 100 instead of 200 and
Right.
0. Basically.
Any other questions?
Not for,
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anybody else here that would like to speak in favor of, the rezoning? Is there anybody here who would like to speak in opposition, to the rezoning? Anyone? Hearing none, I now would like to make a motion to close the, public comment section, of the meeting. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries to close the public comment section 5-0. All right, now I'd like to, make a motion, to open up the discussion section with the planning commissioners. Can I get a second?
A second.
All right, all those in favor of opening the, discussion section, say aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries 5-0. All right, we can speak to staff and pass along questions along those lines. All right,
So,
go ahead.
I'll start. I guess in like just the conception, I don't necessarily have concerns with what's being proposed. The part that I think is where I'm a little bit stuck is that, it's that piece about setting a precedent, by rezoning to the R100. And I understand that there's other R100 lots nearby. I know the R140 is kind of a unique one that Gwinnett had, we don't have something similar to that. But those would have also been zoned that way when there was different, character areas than what we have currently. And, I think some of the points around the aspects of these two lots very largely fall into that RA 200 zoning. It feels like all around that the better thing to do is to keep it as an RA 200, but go that variance route, because that is the thing that would allow for the development of the property in the way that the owner would like to do. But it would also be the most consistent with the district that the properties are in.
Okay.
That's kind of my thoughts in a nutshell.
yeah, I sort of have the same thoughts on that. You know, I think one of my issues when I start looking at it is going, if we go to an R100, we're doing two things, we're setting precedents on it, and then we are changing those setbacks to the R100 setbacks as opposed to the R200. So we're getting into, you know, and looking down that road, most of the houses are so much spread out. Are we getting more density, which is sort of, and I realize there's some R100s that are already there, but that was also Gwinnett County, not Mulberry.
Can you pull up the zoning layout area, just kind of the map itself?
Chandler Faith, I have it. Is this what you're looking for?
That's what I'm looking at.
You want it big though?
Yes.
It's-
Yeah.
mean, I guess one thing I could think is if there's not a good, if we felt comfortable, we could suggest changes in the setbacks. But we're still going to that R 100.
Is there any way that you can put buildings on that right there, or is that his reservation? No, not the building, I'm saying, like the CI, the zoning maps. I'm just wondering if any of those other R100 or R200 lots have any buildings on it, and I didn't see any when I looked at it.
There's another overlay I thought had
Go back, there you go.
that one, but that's all.
No, it was further, cause it was in,
This, I don't have a slide that shows
Yeah.
building footprint.
Building
no, but have those lot zoning, so that's what you're asking for.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
he's
go
also
forward to the
building
for
footprint.
the zoning one. That's it, right there.
So where R100 is written, those two that are split, I think both of those are under construction currently with at least one house, maybe a house on each of those lots.
Okay. Yeah, and I think even the R100 ones, just from the visual aspects, looks like they're well over 100 feet in width, with the exception of those two on the north side. So I'm gonna imagine that there's one house on each of those going forward. And it looks consistent even coming on down to there, so that, you know, it's a probably ballpark of
So a
two,
lot of those
with the
are-
exception of those two.
A lot of those are R140 on that same
Yeah.
side.
When I looked at just Thompson Mill in general,
So
there's some that have been zoned R140 by,
on the north side of Thompson Mill?
kind of
or-
on both sides, if you go further down Thompson Mill towards Ridge.
Yeah,
what
what I'm thinking is, they're saying is that it's consistent, the size is consistent.
Yeah, the
going all
R140
the way
is,
down there.
the R140 lots are all, I think, similar to what you see for most of these, they're wider lots, they've got more of that street frontage.
The
And,
width is the issue I have.
yeah, the width is the issue with the way that this is being proposed to be subdivided, that's the issue for the RA 200 without a variance.
And coming off of a road that size versus a subdivision in and of itself with an R100. And I think in that, when you look, you know, even further to the north, that's in a subdivision with an R100, so there's small and shorter lots like that. Okay. Now, my only concern is you come down the road, you split this to R100, and then you go all the way back. You set the precedent to go R100 on every lot going backwards.
Then you double the houses.
And you can go
all the way down
across the
that busy
road and you do the same
Right.
thing.
Yeah, that, I think that's the big concern,
And
I
that,
have.
and R100 in the equestrian area isn't,
It's not a recommended zoning district, but the density that is being developed is consistent with
Right.
that
the spirit
character.
of it, especially in this case,
Yes,
with it being a 1+ acre
yes.
size.
Yeah, I think that the concern that I have with the R100 is kind of, I think, where you're going,
Mhm.
Terry, which is developing a lot of those narrow lots,
Mhm.
on that street. That is, even if you generally got lot sizes that are over an acre, that are an acre and a half, even if too much of that happens, that completely changes the character of that street. And I think that Thompson Mill Road, the way that it is today, it's had a fair amount of development over the last 10 years. It does look different than it did 10 or 15 years ago, but it still has a large number of those lots that I think maintain that rural character of the area. And so I think, Terry, like, that's the thing with the RA 100 is even if we said, okay, well, it's still gotta meet the character, requirements of this area from a lot size standpoint, what that means is a bunch of those really long narrow lots that in essence completely change the character of that portion of the city and take away that rural equestrian character that it's supposed to be defined by.
So the original owner, that built the home, he situated the home all the way to the left side, so his kids could build beside him one day. And he has since passed away, so that was the plan, and most of the others on the R200, they're right in the middle of their lots.
Right.
So we're left with a giant side yard that's not unusable, but would be more attractive and better built as another home, so that's why we were going this route. Would you consider doing the rezoning with certain conditions that still meet the 200 zoning. That way, you're not setting the precedent of just a unregulated rezoning.
I think what you're asking is kind of the same thing that we're asking, in that a variance would probably be the more reasonable answer than seeing an R100 up there and one R100 sticking out right there, if that makes any sense. Is that fair to say? Sarah?
So I think you
Depending
can
on
look
the
at it
variance,
for both, from two different perspectives. If you are concerned about preserving the RA 200 zoning, in that area, then a variance could be the better route. If you choose to approve the rezoning, the density isn't precedent setting, because they are maintaining that higher lot size. But it would introduce more R100 into that area.
That's my feeling.
I think when I think about just the character area that it's in, with that equestrian rural, the character area, and our vision for the parts of the city that have that, I feel like the best option to meet the development, wants that you have for the property and align it with the city's vision is likely to go that route of the RA 200 with the variances for things like the width of the property and the setbacks, because it allows you to develop it in a way similar to what you're proposing. I think probably exactly as you're proposing, but it prevents some of those downstream impacts that I feel like we're all kind of articulating similar concerns around, that would ultimately bring this area outside of the desired character.
Okay. Any other further discussion? No. Okay.
So, question for staff, if that's the way that it sounds like all of us are leaning, what options do we have as far as like a motion to put
So
forward?
you would recommend denial of it, and as part of your motion, you would state that, you're doing so because you feel like a variance is a better path forward. And that would be the recommendation provided to city council, and that way city council still has the option to act on the rezoning and potentially approve it. The applicant could withdraw the request and submit it as a variance, and we can definitely discuss, whatever happens after the meeting. So there are some paths forward, but, you're a recommending body, so it would be a recommendation to city council.
Okay. We're done.
I can try.
Okay.
Do we need to
Give
close
her a
out
shot.
the discussion first?
Oh, yeah, no, good point. I make a motion, to close the planning commission discussion. Can I get a second? Second. All right, there's a second. All those in favor of closing the discussion session, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Motion carries 5-0.
Okay.
Please make your motion, and a recommendation to mayor and city council.
Okay. I'm gonna try to win it. So, I would like to make a motion, to mayor and city council related to RZR 2025071366, rezoning request at 3209 Thompson Mill Road, to deny. And for the reasons that we've already stated around, concerns with R100 zoning.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
Yeah. You may want to say,
What else do I need to say?
does she need to say anything about the variance?
We have that in our
You got it in the
discussion
notes,
notes.
right? Oh, okay, you got it.
Alright, do I have a second?
Second.
Chris?
All right, I'll call it to, I got a motion and a second, I'll call it to a vote. All those in favor of denial, as spoken by Commissioner O'Rear, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right. Thank you. And the next item of business is TSP 2025-07-1304 and VAR 2025-07-1305, a tall structure permit and concurrent variance request for the construction of a telecommunication tower at 3878 Brazelton Highway. Staff, I now ask you to present your staff analysis and recommendations.
Yes, so this is a tall structure permit request, which is a telecommunication or cell phone tower. It is a proposed monopole tower, which I believe is 195 feet and, 99 feet in height. The concurrent variance is to reduce the separation and setback requirements from residentially zoned properties. The tower itself, the way it is designed, it will self-collapse, so it will not cross any of the adjoining property lines that are residentially zoned. So that is one purpose for requesting that variance. The applicant has met all of the tall structure permit advertising and meeting and notification requirements. The applicant is required to hold a community meeting and send property owners who are residentially zoned within 1,000 feet of the property a communication of that community meeting, in addition to the public hearing, which is being held today. And that is one thing to note, this is a public hearing as required by the ordinance, as opposed to a public meeting, which is usually just a public comment period for the planning commission. So this was properly noticed on our end as well, and that's by the applicant. Due to the supporting documentation that the applicant has provided, including a radio frequency engineer's report and the documentation of the lack of availability of other suitable sites, staff did ultimately recommend approval of this request, as well as the variance request. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them now. Otherwise, I'll turn it over to the applicant.
One question I just had, I've seen a lot of these cell towers go up over the
Yes.
years, and is it gonna be one of the ones that looks like trees, or is it gonna, you know? are they-
I do not know if it's going to have any of those design. We don't require it.
Okay,
Yeah.
because the ones that do look, I mean, they do, sometimes you gotta take a second or third glance and like.
It doesn't look like a tree
They're getting better.
to me. It looks like a tower.
So, I think the only question I would have is, last month, obviously, this was on our agenda to adopt the new
Yes.
text amendment. Does all of this follow what we did last month?
It actually followed the existing ordinance. City council hasn't made a final decision
Okay.
on that text amendment. We just went ahead and put that in motion because as we worked with this applicant, we realized that a lot of the requirements were a little outdated. Especially in a situation like this where there's a documented need. It's been confirmed by the higher powers that be. Having a community meeting is a little
I was gonna say,
misleading
that's
in
not
a
even
way.
needed now, but
Yeah.
once we do that.
Yeah, I think those were very common when cell towers were first
Sure.
coming out.
Right.
And so we just were kind of being proactive.
Yeah.
So they met all of the current code requirements and then we're actually kind of relaxing the ordinance and it's a way to think of it. So they went above and beyond what we will have in place if council adopts.
Now, I understand this whole, as I understand this whole 40-foot EFR, engineered fall radius,
Mhm.
that's supposed to basically collapse within itself or on itself to where it doesn't go outside that. But is it, and maybe just looking at the plan, just kind of hard to tell from there, does look like it probably missed any structures. What it doesn't look like it might not miss some of the cemetery.
Mhm.
And it's a very small portion of the cemetery, don't get me wrong, but it does look like there's, and grant you, there's 60 or 80-foot trees right behind it could fall and hit these things. That would be my only kind of thing. It looks like there's that one area that could be close enough that it could fall. I don't know, it may be outside that
Mhm.
40-foot range, it's.
Yeah, I could let the applicant speak to, what would happen in
Sure,
the event
yeah.
of
And I
a
know it's unpredictable
tower
with that whole-
collapse
yeah,
and,
yeah,
and,
okay.
and kind of what the terms of their lease
Sure.
would require for maintenance of, cause it's gonna be a leased area on the property. So it should happen in agreement with the church or the property owner as to what happens in that event.
Okay. Thank you. I now would like to make a motion to open the public comment period. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. If there's anybody here to speak on behalf of the applicant, please come forward.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Justin Edge with Anderson Tatum Car, 1960 Satellite Boulevard in Duluth, Georgia. It is my privilege to be here this evening on behalf of the applicant Prime Tower Development LLC. It is also a pleasure to introduce Mr. John Banky, who is the project manager for Prime Development LLC and is available to answer all technical questions related to this project and the tower structure permit request. This application is submitted for the construction of a 199-foot monopole telecommunication tower at 3878 Brazelton Highway, Beaufort, Georgia. The wireless tower will encompass a 195-foot galvanized self-support monopole and a 4-foot lightning rod with an engineered fall radius of 40 feet that will fold or buckle should there be a catastrophic weather event. AT&T is the carrier for the wireless tower, but the tower also has capacity to include additional carriers. The wireless tower will have a 6-foot chain link fence surrounding it, topped with 3-strand barbed wire. The property currently maintains an RA 200 zoning classification, and the construction of the wireless tower would be a permissible use under the zoning classification. The property is located in an area where there is a need for additional cellular capacity and meets the radio frequency requirements of intended wireless carriers. The surrounding and adjoining land districts encompass commercial, mixed use, and residential districts. The construction of the wireless tower is strategically designed to address current capacity demands and coverage gaps, and is to serve as an essential infrastructure upgrade to support growing usage. We believe that the proposed wireless tower is great for the city of Mulberry. Our proposal is in compliance with the Mulberry's zoning ordinance. We do, however, request a variance to reduce the setback and separation requirement as the parcel is uniquely shaped, as she mentioned earlier. And lastly, we are also in agreement to allow the city of Mulberry to use the wireless tower for the city's emergency services. With that, I'm happy to address any questions that you may have. We respectfully request that you approve Prime Tower Development's TSP request, and I also would like to request the remainder of my time for rebuttal.
How many other, you say it's AT&T tower, but it can't support other carriers. And I noticed on the plans that, on your one that shows the actual elevation of the pole, it says future carrier antennas typical of 3. And then later on, there's somewhere it said it could support maybe 4 or more. Do you know how many this tower will end up having or supporting in the future? I mean, are they already sold, said a spot sold them?
Well, Commissioner Alexander, this one will accommodate 3.
Okay.
We're probably gonna add another though, because you guys are growing, so we wanna make sure that you don't have to consider this again anytime soon. So, in the antenna will look substantially like you see in your drawing there.
Okay.
So, did you have an answer?
Well, the question about the fall is, and like I said, again, the cemetery may be outside the fall radius. Could you describe basically what, I know Buckland collapsed on itself, but I know, I mean, in your experience?
Sure, this is interesting. If you look, you guys have a copy of the engineer's report. If not, I've got one for you. It's in the next stack.
It should be in there.
We have quite a bit. There's so much.
Yeah,
That's the one.
this is a very large application.
Yeah, you
The
got that
Pure
right under
Cons,
that.
that one?
No, that's
Oh, yeah,
the
it's
problem.
in there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we got
it
those
is.
images
Yeah.
in
No,
there. Yep.
let me just, this is the one I want you to see.
What's the?
These right here. So Commissioner Alexander, to answer your question while he's passing that out, in order for this to even be a factor, there has to be a sustained wind of 109 miles per hour. Before it even, that is the transition point where it could fail. Now, I've been doing this for 26 years, we've never had anything remotely like this happen.
Sure.
And so the words fall radius are kind of a misnomer because they don't fall, they fold and buckle.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant?
So with allowing the city to use a spot for 911, is that an additional spot other than the 3 that you would be?
Yes, so Commissioner Atkins, what we will do, I think I'm just gonna tell you now, we're gonna do 4 rad centers, 4 spots for antennas. That would take us 95, 85, 75, 65. So the city could co-locate at no charge at 155 or below.
Gotcha.
No charge, we'll make space for them in the campground.
And is that consistent, that height consistent to what we would typically need, I guess?
That's not information
I just don't know, I'm just curious, honestly.
Based on my experience, that is probably higher than you need.
Okay. Yeah, more just curiosity question. And I mean, I'll say thank you for, there's a lot of information here, so.
I've read this.
And it's actually interesting to me, so,
It's always fascinating, you guys should know, and ladies, that, I started this June of '24, and we're one of the ones that got hung up in the,
Sure.
transfer to Mulberry.
Okay.
So we've been waiting a long time to get to you guys, and we're glad we're here.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here.
Any other questions? All right, do we have anyone in opposition of the tower here tonight? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing section. Can I get a second? All those in favor of closing the public hearing section, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 5-0. I would like to make a motion to open it up for discussion amongst the planning commissioners. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor of opening it up for discussion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries 5-0. Anybody want to lead off? Discussion?
No, I mean, I think it's, my concerns or questions were just, or information was answered.
I like the idea with the 911, and it's, a good thing for our community, so.
Gotta go through a lot of red tape to get to this point, so.
Well, also from what I understand, it's very much needed too, from the research and people I've talked to, this is something that'll be very beneficial for us.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
All right.
I appreciate the level of detail that was
I agree.
in here.
Thank you.
All right. I'm gonna make a motion to close the discussion section. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, please, this is in your area, so please make a motion as a recommendation to council and mayor and council.
Say they go now.
Okay, you're gonna make a motion to approve or deny,
don't
you
say
make
no.
the choice, not vote, to mayor and council.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to approve to the mayor and council.
Will you make 2 motions, one on the tall structure permit and then one on the variance request?
Okay,
Or you could say,
start off on one,
Yeah.
there you go, right
you
there.
could do both,
Read that one.
just say
We want your paperwork.
both.
Okay, so we basically, I make a motion to approve. Okay, I make a motion to approve TSP 2025.07.1304. Second,
Can I get a second?
can I get a second?
Second. All right. All those in favor of approving, to mayor and council TSP 2025-07-1304, please recognize by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Opposed. All right. Motion carries 5-0. Now you do the same thing with that.
This one here. I make a motion to approve variance 2025.07.1305. A tall structure permit and concurrent variance request for the construction of telecommunication tower at 3878 Rasmussen Highway. Do I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor of approving the variance 2025-07-1305, signify by raising your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're getting close. Think. Close. Here we go. There we go, getting in there. Commissioners, that concludes our business for this meeting. I will now make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? All right, all those in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
7:40 p.m.
7:40 p.m., September 23rd, 2025.
And just to note, the next planning commission meeting will be on October 28th at 6:30 p.m. at the end of the cul-de-sac,
At the new location?
at the new location.
Wear your Halloween costume.
Yes. 2079? It's 2078 Suite 100, or 2078 Terron Trace Suite 100.
It's at the far.
It's right that way.
Sarah?